Have you been following us for a while and maybe you've tried a couple of things and feel like you're still stuck or it's not quite working the way you want it to? We got a question on one of our posts this week about just that. And I wanted to dive into it because it had me thinking about, a lot of things. Like, one, what were the things that you tried? And, uh, you know, when I think about our Instagram post, for example, there's nutrition insights, but I wouldn't say that it falls into the category of guidance by any means. And then there's so much of an individualization piece when you're actually working with somebody. So it really got me thinking about a lot of things. So I wanted to dive into that. But when I first shared that with you, like, what were your initial thoughts that came up?
My initial thought was like, I wouldn't expect it to 100% work for you because
Yeah.
there's not individual advice on Instagram. I think Instagram can be a really good starting point to be like, oh, I'm learning more about IBD and the foods that I maybe can eventually build up to.
Mm-hmm.
But with dietitians, you can uncover a lot when you're talking to someone. And what I mean by that is maybe we're able to pick out an intolerance and to learn about the types of symptoms they're experiencing and what they're eating in their day, as well as where their inflammation is located. We can learn a lot about maybe why a food might not be working for you, and then discuss with you ways we can adapt it so that you can improve tolerance over time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to consider. It's not just black and white nutrition thinking for anything, but especially for IBD. And I feel like we see more broader ways of thinking and eating on our nutrition page because that's what we got to start with.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about ebooks, our ebooks, I feel like, really are a step further. They are a chance for people to get a broad scope overview of some of the things that we might be recommending if we're working with you. So, like, if you're looking at our ebooks, then I would say, and you're still feeling stuck, then I'd say you probably still need individualized support, and there are probably still things you need to dig deeper on. But if you're looking on Instagram as the starting point, it really is just kind of more baseline information about what we know about IBD rather than actual nutrition guidance. There's so much more that we could put, but Instagram is really not the place for, like, having an actual conversation about it and then consolidating that specific to the person. Because I think taking the person element out is just not possible. Like, if the person element is everything. That is the most important part of guidance, is understanding the individual and what their experience is. And it's kind of funny because I think about you probably follow gastroenterologists or doctors or whatever online. You may follow therapists online, and we all know that that's not the same thing as going to the doctor or going, to a therapist. Like, it's far different because there's a lot you uncover in that relationship. Now, but it's just funny that maybe people view sort of a dietitian's role as it's just information, but it's not just information. It's actual nutrition care. It's, what we call medical nutrition therapy. It's its own type of treatment for IBD. And I think just in general, people seem to view nutrition as just different. But it is the same. It's similar to other healthcare services in that you can't get it offline. It's not something. It's not like just like a written handout. It's actual nutrition care specific to the person.
Right. I think, Ashley, too, especially in the IBD population, it's like we need like a dictionary sometimes on maybe what us as dietitians mean by IBD friendly, and maybe something that's flare friendly, but also understanding that, there's tolerances to these foods as well that we classify as IBD friendly. So if I were to talk further about that, I'm thinking of maybe a post we had a month and a half ago, and it was on berries and the benefits of berries for IBD. And
Mhm.
I think that in itself, people were like, what? I can eat berries? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but maybe not right now. What I mean by that is if you are like down bad in a flare, going through it, I wouldn't say go have a cup of blackberries. you know?
Unless you can, yeah. But it's like hard to know without knowing the person where they are with that. Do they have strictures? Do they not have strictures? What's
Yeah.
been their tolerance so far? Are they on like 5 safe foods? Are they only doing liquids? Do they have an abundant diet?
Yeah.
It really is about the starting point, that where someone's at now and what actually is going on. And
Yeah.
that dictates, a lot of things. But I think where people will often go wrong is viewing intolerance as, one, that it's always going to be that way, and two, that means that you should take stuff out. It just doesn't. It's not forever, and it doesn't mean you should always take it out. It's a starting point and it's a data point. I view tolerance as more of a data point and an invitation to dig deeper and to get support on that. And if you have a lot of intolerances, that is a sign, in my mind, that you need to work with someone with an IBD focused dietitian to help with building tolerance, because you're just at risk for malnutrition if you don't have a diverse diet, and that's at risk of like holding you back in a sense from being able to get to, remission.
And when you yourself say intolerance, what do you mean by that?
When I say intolerance, I mean your perceived intolerance, because a lot of times we know from working with people that almost all the time you can have an idea that something is triggering your symptoms, and almost always everyone I've ever worked with have been surprised at some point of like, I thought that was the issue. It was not actually the issue. It was the way I was having it, or it's the quantity I was having it, or it was not even the food itself. It was the thing I was putting on the food or having with the food, or it wasn't even the food at all. It was this bigger picture, and I think we forget that there is a bigger picture at play, and that's the IBD process that's going on in the background that is changing a lot of things. And it doesn't mean that the food is not helpful. It just means that you're not tolerating it well. And it could mean that your gut microbiome needs a little support to be able to tolerate more foods.
Yeah. That's the way you explain that.
Yeah. So if that is you, if you feel like you've been listening for a while, or you've been kind of tuning into some of our Instagram posts, and you've maybe tried a couple of things and you feel like you're not getting anywhere with it, know that doesn't mean that these things aren't effective, or that nutrition therapy that's customized to you can't work. It means you probably need to dive a little deeper, potentially work with someone. If you're looking for a next step and you're not ready to work with someone, our ebooks are a great starting point for getting like the overall picture and a good consensus of what's most important when it comes to nutrition, especially the Flare ebook that Danielle put together. It's a really great cohesive look at everything. And if you feel like you're ready for one-on-one support and you just have questions and want to get to know our process or how we operate, I'm going to put the link below for an assessment call if you want to just kind of figure out what ways you could work with us and how that would look. All right, everyone, take care.